Okay, hello everyone. We are back in Culture Shock for another week of fun. And well, this week, as you can probably see by now, we have a lot of new people here in the cabin, and Nathaniel is traveling somewhere over the rainbow. And well, we'll start by introducing everyone who's new here, and let's start.
Hi, I'm Carla. I'm a student from the career of languages.
I'm Vianney, and I actually was a guest here about 3 weeks ago, and I'm happy to be back.
And
I'm Michelle. I'm studying the same as they are.
and we have our guest, Angie.
The guest of honor!
Yay!
Bravo.
Hi, I'm Angie, and I'm the principal of the major.
Yeah, she's the big boss of the major, right? Okay, so yeah, this week we're gonna talk about different things, but before we start, I would like to thank our audience for being with us another week, and to invite you to participate in the Facebook Live, as well in the comments or the YouTube one, and possibly soon we'll have an Instagram if these girls want to create it, right? And well, we'll talk about the ciclo de conferencias. It's the third one that is happening here, and it's for the major IED, which means...
Yeah, we're gonna have this event. It's actually for them, so they can enjoy and they can have access to different people from different places. And this time we give like a twist to this conference cycle, because it was like focused on English, the two previous one. But now this is gonna be like something more diverse and inclusive. So we're gonna be talking about native languages of Mexico, also sign language, and actually one of the collaborators from the handbook of sign languages of Mexico City is gonna come here to give a workshop. So this time it's gonna be a little bit more diverse.
Nice. And what are you girls gonna be doing in this conference?
I'm actually going to present it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's gonna be the presenter.
Nice.
What she doesn't know is that we're gonna be presenting in English, Spanish, and Nahuatl.
And you have to...
I'll only help
Practice
with Spanish and English.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know.
Beto is gonna help.
Beto,
But yeah, we're gonna be
okay.
presenting in 3 different languages.
And what about you girls?
Well, we don't have like a special part in the conferences. We're just going to be part of the audience and listening to everyone, to all the
Okay.
presenters.
And give your support.
Of course.
Well, to start with this running, let's start interviewing Angie, our guest. She is doing a lot of things here in OPAEP, and she's been working here for a while. And let's see who would like to start the interview.
So, Angie, we actually study Italian right now,
Yeah.
and we would like to know why you decided to study Italian.
Oh my gosh, seriously.
Yeah, like why?
It's a little bit embarrassing, but it's the truth. When I was studying the major, I studied modern languages. I was a super big fan of soccer, and I liked Italian soccer, and I liked a lot this guy Roberto Baggio. So he was my inspiration to learn Italian. I was like, I'm gonna learn Italian so I can go to Italy to talk to him. So I learned Italian. I went to Italy, but I have never spoken to him.
How many times have you been to Italy?
4.
Wow.
And I would go back. It's the country in Europe that I really like the most, because I think the culture is similar to Mexican culture. So it's like being home, just speaking with your hands, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of gesturing
Yeah.
in Italian. Okay, so that makes it very clear why she studied Italian. Any other question you girls want to ask?
For example, in our class, we are only just the 2 of us. Why would you think it's important to study Italian instead of like, I don't know, German or French?
Well, actually, of course, Italian has like less speakers than the other languages, and it doesn't have a lot of diffusion as the other ones. But also opportunities are like bigger, or you have more chances to go because not a lot of people speak Italian. So if there are scholarships or actually job positions to work in there, you could be like full candidates to go there because not a lot of people study that. But what is pretty good is that I think that if you learn a new language, any kind of language, it gives you another perspective and another kind of, I don't know, it like sum up to your cultural backpack. So
And well, you told us that you studied modern languages, right?
Yeah.
Why did you decide? What's the story behind it? Why did you study that?
well, actually, when I was in junior high school, I had this English teacher, and he talked to me, and he said, like, Angie, you should study languages because you're pretty good at that stuff. But I was 15, and I didn't care, and I was like, no, thank you so much. So I studied the high school, and then I went to the university, and I started studying engineering.
What kind of engineering?
Yeah, computer
Engineering, okay.
Yeah, I started there, and I was pretty good at programming and this kind of thing, but calculus and math, it was like hell. And what I didn't like, I remember I was there. I had classes in the basement because it was a building with a basement, so my classes were in the basement. It was a little bit depressing. So I remember once I was like walking out the classroom, and I could see like everybody from here to that side. And then I saw teachers walking alone, just quiet, with their computer in their hand. And I was like, that's going to be my life.
I don't want
So
it.
yeah, I was like, no, I like to speak to people. I like to talk to people, to have like social contact. So I was like, no, I don't want to. So I went back to cry to my high school. And then one of my teachers told me, like, if you don't like it, just get out. So I did that. I studied modern languages. And the director of the major was my former English teacher in junior high. So he was like, Angie, I told you. And I was like, yeah, I just like mess up a little bit.
What a coincidence, right?
I know.
Any other question?
Yeah, I think in one of our classes you mentioned that you gave Italian classes to like people from all kinds of ages.
Yeah.
How was that experience? For how long did you do it? Why did you decide to stop? Because as of now, you're not giving Italian courses anymore.
Well, it was my first job. It was pretty easy to find a job as an Italian teacher because there are not a lot of Italian teachers. Yeah. So I started working in BUAP as an Italian teacher, and I had students from different ages. So the youngest was like 16 and the oldest was like 70 something. And the first group was kind of difficult because it was my first time. I was, I think, 21 or 22 years old. Mm-hmm. And I had people like my age now, and they were very mean, like asking like, Angie, how do you say mariposa? And I was like, farfalla. And they were like looking up in the dictionary to see if I really knew that. I remember the first time I went to cry to the bathroom. Like,
wow.
Yeah, during the break, and then I came back. But yeah, and after that, it was pretty easy. I really like Italian. I like the culture. And also people who studies Italian is because they want it, not because they have to, like English. Because in English, you have people who really want it and people who hate it. But in Italian, you don't have that. So it's really easy to work with people who wants to learn Italian because they are motivated. I taught Italian like for 10 years, more or less. And I stopped teaching Italian because I came to UPAEP, and there are other teachers of Italian, so that's why. Yeah, but I'm gonna be giving an Italian course to the ones that are coming from the prepas. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be.
It's like a pre-summer course or something like that. Yeah.
I'm gonna be teaching Italian
for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks during July. Yeah, if you wanna come and help.
Yeah. What course? What level are you in Italian?
In the last level.
Yeah.
The last level, which is what, like a B1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More or less. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Angie, do you have any certification for Italian, or what do you think your level is, or?
Yeah, I have the B2.
Wow.
But I should have taken the C1 because I had the level in that time.
Uh-huh.
But now I'm not pretty sure about it. but I should study a little bit.
Yeah, probably yes. Well, another question that interests us is, how did you get to work here in UPAEP? How did that happen?
When I finished my major, I started working with kids, elementary school kids, which I don't like, in La Salle. In that time, it
That's
was
a
just
surprise
boys.
for me.
It was like the toughest year of my life. So I had this opportunity to go as a teaching assistant to the United States. I went to live there, and I was teaching Spanish there, to kindergarten, and then something like junior high school here, kind of. And then when I came back, as I have been teaching in the States, like all the doors were open in the schools here in Mexico. Yeah, that's the truth. And I started working here at the UPAEP in 2000.
Did you teach
Five.
Italian here in UPAEP? Or
I have.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, I have.
Interesting.
Before Ricardo.
I have some
Yeah.
a personal question about Italian again.
Yeah.
I don't know where I got this from, but I know there's this idea that if the language you're learning is similar to your native language, is
Oh boy.
harder.
Let me tell
No,
you.
it's harder for you to get it because it's so similar that you confuse them. So, according to your experience, for
Yeah, I would-
Spanish speakers,
Would be the same as Carla just mentioned. It's like it's so similar that sometimes I think at the very beginning it's easy because it's similar. It's easy to pronounce it because you learn the different sounds and then you can pronounce it or read it. But once you start getting into these tenses like subjunctive and these kind of things, it gets really complicated. And also, as it's pretty similar to Spanish, sometimes you invent words or rules or overgeneralize. So sometimes it's super complicated. But when you are like in more advanced levels, at the very beginning, I would say it's pretty easy because you feel that you just go and learn a lot in a short time of period.
Yeah, I think that happens, at least to me, it happened because I started learning English when I was like 9. And, well, until I was like 17 or 18, I started learning French. And it's been super hard because at the beginning is like, oh yeah, I can understand the words, I see them, right?
Yeah.
But then when you start getting like serious about it, it's just so complicated because we don't even know, well, at least my major wasn't specialized in Spanish. So I didn't know the grammar like bit by bits like I know English, for example. So whenever I see something super difficult in French, I don't know how to relate it to the comparison of my grammar in Spanish because I don't have the knowledge of that. So it becomes super complicated and it's just confusing. And it's being super hard.
don't you ever mix English and French
Oh,
and
sure.
Spanish?
Yes, I do that a lot. Especially now because I'm trying to improve my French more. So it becomes more confusing. Sometimes I get stuck. And the next word doesn't come out and it's just frustrating. But it's a normal part of the process, I guess.
Sometimes you even forget your words, like in
Yeah.
your mother tongue.
Yes.
All the
Yeah.
time.
How do you say this?
How do you say this? How do you say that? And yeah, that's very interesting. Well, for the ones who don't know, Angie is, well, as you mentioned, she's the boss of the major, right? She's the head of the major. And, well, she'll tell us about that, right? What is the purpose of studying IED? What is the objective for someone who wants to study it?
Well, actually, the purpose is like to become a language teacher. And of course, to share your culture and to learn new languages, to learn new cultures. And I would say that it's quite an interesting job. And also, I don't know any person who studies this that doesn't have a job. It's
Wow,
like
that's
it's
very
like you, yeah. It's like you have a job. If you don't have a job doing this, it's because you don't want to, not because there aren't opportunities. Because
That's a very good point.
yeah, I know. It's like you get out of other majors and you're probably struggling to get a job. In this case, you wouldn't. If you are, of course, prepared and you have your certifications, which they are going to have, so they shouldn't be scared about it. And also, I think it's rewarding. It was like 10 years ago, I started working in a junior high school. It's the level I really, really liked the most, I think, because teenagers are super fun and yeah, seriously. And they do like a lot of stupid things, but you laugh at it. And now they are grown-ups. Now they have majors. Sometimes we chat on Facebook and this kind of things. Or I don't know. I just find them on Costco. And
So that means you're not her favorite, right? Her favorite
no.
student.
It's because it's different. Like, for example, here is like I have to punish them if they don't do something. And the other one is like you don't have that.
Nothing happens.
No, it's like they have their other teachers to do that, so it's just like to have fun. But I would say it's rewarding when you find people and says thank you, or when they invite you to their wedding or to their
graduation.
Yeah. I have a student. His daughter name is Angie because of me.
Wow.
So yeah, I almost cried when I went to the baptism.
No, I didn't think you almost. You probably did.
Yeah, because I cried because of everything.
Okay, so we're gonna go to a little break, and we'll be back with the second section of Culture Shock.
Yeah.
UPAEP, rumbo al 50 aniversario. Misión.
Crear corrientes de pensamiento y formar líderes que transformen a la sociedad, en la búsqueda de la verdad, integrando fe, ciencia y vida. Valores.
Junto a la verdad, el bien y la belleza, nuestra universidad sostiene como valores rectores la dignidad de la persona humana, la libertad, la solidaridad, la subsidiariedad, la congruencia, el respeto, el amor y la justicia. Visión.
Somos una comunidad universitaria fraterna, congruente, alegre y comprometida, que es referente en la conjunción del pensamiento humanista, cristiano y las ciencias, que forma integralmente líderes con alta calidad profesional y compromiso social. Contribuye a la transformación de la sociedad con propuestas pertinentes, orientadas a la consecución del bien común. Tiene presencia e influencia en los ámbitos local, regional, nacional e internacional. Centra la gestión en la persona y optimiza los recursos al servicio de la misión institucional. Líneas rectoras.
Atreverse a vivir congruentemente nuestra identidad, como ejemplo de virtud en el servicio, con respeto y amor al prójimo, para la transformación social en orden al bien común.
Privilegiar a través de la academia la formación humanista cristiana en busca de la excelencia científica y profesional, con pensamiento universal y trascendencia social.
Crear sistemas académicos de auténtica pertinencia social, a través de la docencia, investigación y extensión, para enriquecer la cultura y participar en la solución de los problemas fundamentales del país.
Involucrarse en la formación y desarrollo intercultural de la comunidad universitaria a través de ámbitos y vínculos de internacionalización.
Lograr ambientes de confianza, colaboración y servicio, dentro de una cultura de austeridad, transparencia y evaluación. UPAEP, rumbo al 50 aniversario.
Okay, and we're back with more Culture Shock, and let's continue this conversation. So Angie was talking about the jobs, and I think we have another question about that, right? Michelle?
Angie,
Yeah, Carla has another one, but Michelle first.
So when we get out of the uni, could we work?
Well, there are many places where you can work. Of course, you can work in schools, like private or also public. Now SEP has these huge salaries if you're an English teacher and you get a position there. They go like from the 25,000 to the 35,000 monthly, so it's good. And also there's some people that works in kind of hotels giving classes to the tourists that go there for
Companies
sometimes.
also, right?
Yeah, and also companies. Also, you can work on, I don't know, for example, there are some positions in certain government institutions that are related to the preservation of languages or political languages, because remember that language is power. So there are many people who deals with that. For example, there in ONU, there's people who's just in charge of languages, so you could work there if you like kind of politics and these kind of things. Also, you could work in different places like companies. They usually have these kind of courses or classes, and of course, you can work in another country teaching your language, that is Spanish, and that's a pretty good advantage because Mexican culture is like super admired around the world. So a lot of people wants to know about Day of the Dead and I don't know, Cinco de Mayo and these kind of things. So yeah, you could work there.
And we also have the
Everywhere.
biggest number of Spanish speakers.
Yeah, and actually next week on Tuesday, Angel Tuninet is gonna give you a talk about how to go to be a teaching assistant at his university in West Virginia. And if you do the teaching assistant for 2 years, then you are actually paying your master's degree there. So you can go there as a teaching assistant to get a master's degree. And of course, that it's going to open another door to different job positions and different fields.
Yeah, and remember that this major is also very flexible, right? It's not just
Yeah.
the teaching, there are also many other opportunities. I did the modern languages major, and I also had the chance once, and it was super fun, to record with a company, to record my voice for books, and it was for children's books. And so I
Make
had
some
to go-
voices.
No, not right
Come
now.
on, yeah.
We're gonna have a special for that.
No, I really
And
want
you have
you
been
to be-
teasing me to do this, but yeah.
Just one.
Oh,
Just one.
Just one, yeah, choose.
Okay, I can probably do Gollum from The Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
I don't like the hobbitses. That's just one, and we'll probably have a special on that.
Yeah, he can do tons of voices.
But yeah, so I had the chance to do that, and it was super fun. I also did the narrator, which was also fun to do because I've always made fun of the narrator in all the listenings, especially the TOEFL ones. And so yeah, that's another fun thing you can do, right? And so there's no just very round up thing of possibilities, but it's just more broad. I think it's just infinite what we can do.
Yeah, I have friends that studied modern languages that is actually the same open as yours. And for example, I have one that she's a volunteer in every single event that she finds. So she's not living like in any place. She lives in around the world. Now she's in Andorra because there's something about a ski, competition of ski. So now she's there. And she has been in the Olympic Games. She has been in Canada, no, in Alaska, doing certain things about, I don't know, cruises and these kind of things. So yeah, there are many things that it's so open that you can choose a path and you can go there, experiment. If you don't like it, you can go back. Or if you really like it, you can go on in that direction.
Yeah. So think about it. There's many things you can do, right?
Yeah.
And well, another thing that the IED major offers is not just these cycle of conferences, but as we talked about last week, we also have the Nikan Fest, which is celebrated every year now. We had the second one this year, and we hope to have many, many more to come, right? And well, the Nikan Fest was very fun. We had a lot of things going on. We had the stands from the IED students. So for the audience who couldn't come, I'll explain. They had to be in the center of the main campus, and they were representing, right, one of the indigenous cultures here in Mexico. and they had to talk about everything, right? Their food, their dressing, their traditions, their language, and the number of speakers, etc. And there was you could try food there, and it was fun.
Yeah.
You could talk to the people in there. There were even some teams with people like actually dressed, right?
Yeah.
And that was very cool to see. And where were you girls? Tell us that day.
We were the Purepecha team,
Yeah.
but we didn't want.
Why didn't you win? She
We
wanted
have a
to
lot
talk
to
about
say
this.
about that.
Yeah.
But
that for last.
Okay.
but they could share a little bit about what they mentioned that day about Purepecha.
Exactly. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I just remember corundas. We had corundas at our stand.
What is
and
that?
It's a type of tamal,
Mm-hmm.
but it has a different shape. It's like a triangle or a what's this name? It has five
Pentagon.
A pentagon.
Pentagon, yeah. And it's filled with chicken and some sauce. And it's just like a tamal with a different shape.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay. And where is the Purepecha located? In Mexico.
Mainly on
Michoacán.
Michoacán.
Yeah, 22 parts of Michoacán, municipios.
Like parts of Guadalajara.
Yeah. And some parts of Jalisco. And. ¿cuál otra?
Also, they start going up
Yeah.
north, right?
And
Okay.
some in the United States as well.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
Migration.
yeah,
Mhm.
they migrate. A lot of their
Oh.
people decide to leave to the States. So we actually found an interesting video stating that in one community there's a lot of women and there's not a lot of men anymore because they migrate to the States. So they make a living off cooking. They're called cocineras tradicionales, and it's like a whole thing. It's a whole experience. Like tourists who go there, they could actually like make the food, see how everything is made. The tamales, well, kind of tamales, the
Corundas.
tortillas, corundas. They actually have like a bicolor tortilla with maíz azul and blanco, and yeah, it's like a whole experience.
Oh, so it's a community led by women, right?
Yeah,
Pretty
it's
much.
totally, yeah.
Oh, wow.
mainly.
That's very interesting. Anything else that's super interesting about the Purepechas? Words. You also had to share words, right? Or phrases.
Yeah, we're not gonna remember anything.
But actually, the picture of your stand is the one that is now on the Facebook page, and it has been shared by other pages about cultural diversity and this kind of things. Yeah.
And one more question. Why do you think you didn't win?
Because we're not popular
Injustice.
enough.
Injustice.
I mean, it's because she wanted to talk about
Yeah.
that, right?
Our stand had the most colors, the most stuff in the table, and we even had a game.
Yeah.
And many people came to our stand just to play that game, but they didn't vote for us. That's why we didn't win.
Did you invite them to vote?
Yeah, some.
Okay.
Just some.
See?
But the people of the other stands actually took the exchange students to the urna
Not to be shady.
to vote.
Not to be shady.
That's not fair. That shouldn't happen.
No, but now,
Closer. They were closer.
Call
yeah,
now
yeah.
culture.
now, actually, we're gonna change the voting system.
Please.
Now it's gonna be the jury. It's gonna decide the first place, and the second and third place is gonna be decided by voting. Yeah.
Yeah, the purpose of the event is to celebrate Mother Language Day, but specifically in Mexico, cultural diversity in Mexico, right? Because it's estimated that 43% of the 6,000 languages spoken in the world are endangered. And as we mentioned before in one previous show, yeah, there are many languages who are disappearing every day. And this is, of course, a concern because with a language, it's not just the words or the grammar that goes, but it's more than that. It's the food, the culture, the traditions, the beliefs, the norms, etc. Right? And well, there was also the sauce contest, which I was happy to be a judge of, right? And it was super good. There were some sauces that were just delicious. There was this one that was by I don't even know how to say alpiste, but it's these very small seeds that they're fed to birds, right? And that was super spicy, but I loved it.
Oh yeah, Flor was almost crying.
Yeah, Flor was almost crying. But that was my favorite, personally. And there was also, I don't usually like mixing mango, like sweet stuff with habaneros. But I tried one that was very convincing, yes. And yeah, I really
Did you
liked
try the sauces?
No, we were at our stand
Yeah.
crying because we
those. Dramatic much, right?
Yeah, drama queen.
Okay. And, well, another thing, because we're talking about languages and the event we had and how IED will help you in your future, right? And open up a lot of doors. We have this very interesting concept of what a lingua franca is, right? A lingua franca is a language that is spoken between two or more people, right? Who don't share the same native language. This happens, and this is it sounds like something complicated, but it happens everywhere, right? For example, in India, right? There's places from East West who don't share the same native language, but English is considered also an official language in India. So when they want to do business or when they want to interact or they want to do whatever, they have to speak both in English. And that's an example of how English is being used as a lingua franca. China is another place in which English is used as a lingua franca due to the variations, to the numerous variations of Chinese, right? And here in Mexico, well, we probably don't use it as a lingua franca because well, all Mexico speaks Spanish. We share that, but that's how it works. Anything else to mention about the lingua franca?
Well, there's a similar concept called pidgin, but the difference between a pidgin and a lingua franca is that a lingua franca has native speakers, but a pidgin doesn't.
Yeah, the pidgin is like the super basic, right? It's just for trading.
Yeah.
Just like what happens in, we've mentioned previously, between Portuguese and Spanish, which becomes Portuñol, in the borders of Brazil in South America, where the traders have to do business, right? To do their things, and there's this combination of Spanish and Portuguese to make the trades out, and that's how it works. And that's a very interesting concept. Yeah, so it's like a pidgin. The difference would be that they don't have native speakers, right?
Yeah, and it's also their grammar is super simplified.
Yes. Yeah, the pidgin's grammar is very easy. It's just like this. Have you ever been into an airport and you see people with different passports, not necessarily U.S. or Mexico, but different countries, and probably these people don't speak perfect English, but since it's such a global language, right? Most like Hollywood movies are in English and they're watched everywhere, and the music also. So I've heard this conversation where it's like, vacation. No, business. Right? Where to, right? Brazil. Oh, days? 15, right? And it's just like that. It's just that very basic interaction, but using English there. And it's very interesting for me. It has been always fun for me to observe because I'm very interested in that thing. Have you seen any of those things ever in your life? Or here in Mexico with foreigners, we see it, right? When the waitress or the waiter don't speak English, or they have just the super basic level, the interaction with the foreigners is very interesting.
We actually had an experience once, like near the vinculación?
Yeah.
Vinculación, perdón. Where like this guy, we didn't know where he was from, but he was like, dinero, perdí, dinero. And we tried to understand with just those simple words.
Yeah, and he was asking for money because he told us that his wallet was stolen. So
was he a student here? No,
he was just an older person.
Yeah. Okay, but he was not Mexican.
No.
Oh, okay.
I think he was from the States, but we weren't quite sure. He just came up to us and he was like, dinero, estúpido. Y estúpido.
Did you talk to him in English?
We tried, but he was just like, estúpido, dinero. And I was like, okay, here, I guess.
I'll believe you, right? Another interesting concept of lingua franca, among these things that we were talking about is the Esperanto, right? Which is an artificial language that was created by Zamenhof in 1887. And it's the most popular and most used artificial language because we have many of these.
Yeah.
For example, Elven in the Lord of the Rings, right? Which is a created language. But Esperanto is actually used. There's a lot of speakers, and can you tell us more about the Esperanto?
Well, it actually has a part of the people that uses it, I think a fifth part,
Yeah.
is a native speaker of that language. So there are native speakers. I didn't know that, and it was very interesting for me.
Nice.
It also mentioned that their grammar is very simplified as well. Written language is just phonetic, the way it sounds, that's the way it's written. So easier communication between people. And yeah, there's actually an association of this language, and 83 countries are part of it. They're members of this community. So, yeah.
The number of speakers goes to 100,000,
Yeah.
which for a created language is
Yeah.
a lot, right?
Yeah.
And another thing to mention is that since the grammar is simplified, there's no irregularities in the grammar. There are no irregular verbs, for example, or irregular conjugations. And what's another thing? Oh yeah, just to compare it with Klingon, right, from Star Trek, which is another constructed language. There's this person I was reading about it, a scientist that was trying to teach his child Klingon as a native language. But the problem was that the kid didn't have anyone to interact with besides his father, which in Esperanto is probably a bit different because there are 100,000 speakers at least, right? And that was the experiment that was done with Klingon. Well, we'll be back for more of Culture Shock with our third and final section.
Yay!
UPAEP, rumbo al 50 aniversario. Misión.
Crear corrientes de pensamiento y formar líderes que transformen a la sociedad, en la búsqueda de la verdad, integrando fe, ciencia y vida. Valores.
Junto a la verdad, el bien y la belleza, nuestra universidad sostiene como valores rectores la dignidad de la persona humana, la libertad, la solidaridad, la subsidiariedad, la congruencia, el respeto, el amor y la justicia. Visión.
Somos una comunidad universitaria fraterna, congruente, alegre y comprometida, que es referente en la conjunción del pensamiento humanista, cristiano y las ciencias, que forma integralmente líderes con alta calidad profesional y compromiso social. Contribuye a la transformación de la sociedad con propuestas pertinentes, orientadas a la consecución del bien común. Tiene presencia e influencia en los ámbitos local, regional, nacional e internacional. Centra la gestión en la persona y optimiza los recursos al servicio de la misión institucional. Líneas rectoras.
Atreverse a vivir congruentemente nuestra identidad, como ejemplo de virtud en el servicio, con respeto y amor al prójimo, para la transformación social en orden al bien común.
Privilegiar a través de la academia la formación humanista cristiana en busca de la excelencia científica y profesional, con pensamiento universal y trascendencia social.
Crear sistemas académicos de auténtica pertinencia social, a través de la docencia, investigación y extensión, para enriquecer la cultura y participar en la solución de los problemas fundamentales del país.
Involucrarse en la formación y desarrollo intercultural de la comunidad universitaria a través de ámbitos y vínculos de internacionalización.
Lograr ambientes de confianza, colaboración y servicio, dentro de una cultura de austeridad, transparencia y evaluación. UPAEP, rumbo al 50 aniversario.
Soy de Tlaxcala, amo la naturaleza y disfruto mucho leer. Estudio administración de empresas y elegí hacerlo en UPAEP, porque aquí combino una excelente preparación con aquello que es mi gran pasión, ayudar a la gente. Mi historia comienza aquí. Descúbrela en upaep.mx/soy UPAEP. Soy Alexandra y soy UPAEP.
Okay, and we're back with the third and final section of Culture Shock this week. Before we go, we want to invite you to listen to us next week. We'll be back on Tuesday at 3, just like every Tuesday. And we'll have more surprises for you. We're trying to plan what the next show is going to be about. And, well, I want to thank everyone for being here. Angie, for being our guest today in such a short notice. Yes, a guest of honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, girls, for being here in the team. And, well, we hope we keep doing an excellent job here. And Michelle, she was just here today because next week she has class at this hour, right?
Yeah.
But thank you very much for being here.
Thank
And whenever you want to be here as a guest or just...
Guest of honor.
Yeah, guest of honor, you can just let us know and we'll have you here.
Yay, perfect.
Okay, anything else you would like to add, girls?
No.
No, thank you. Angie, anything else you would like to add?
No, just thank you for having me here and for having
You're very welcome.
my students here.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. And don't forget this Thursday and Friday, it's the conference, this cycle of conferences for IED, and we'll be having a lot of interesting people coming, a lot of interesting things happening. Girls, please pay attention to those conferences.
Of course.
Right.
Always.
And yeah, Michelle's going to be presenting. And well, we owe you the previous week's Vox Populi, right? Because we didn't have it ready, but we have it this week, and we also have this one for this week ready, so we have double combo this week, right? So we'll leave you with the Vox Populi, and thank you very much for being with us. We'll be back next week.
Bye.
Bienvenidos a Culture Shock. Hoy vamos a hablar sobre los temas del tercer ciclo de conferencias. Vamos a verlo. Hola, ¿cuál crees que es el idioma oficial de México?
Me parece que el náhuatl.
¿Por qué consideras que muchas lenguas indígenas están a punto de morir?
Porque actualmente vivimos en un mundo aquí en México donde la tecnología cada vez va aumentando y digamos que las raíces mexicanas pues se van perdiendo poco a poco y ya no les tomamos mucho en cuenta como antes.
¿Por qué crees que es importante aprender una lengua extranjera?
Pues más que nada para fortalecer nuestras raíces mexicanas y que no se pierdan, para que nosotros tampoco perdamos nuestra identidad mexicana.
Gracias.
Hola, ¿crees que la educación universitaria es intercultural?
Claro que sí, es importante que sea intercultural para salir de nuestra zona de confort y conocer nuevas personas y nuevas tradiciones.
¿Qué piensas de la enseñanza del inglés en México?
Es muy importante aprender inglés porque la mayoría de las personas en el mundo hablan inglés. Es básicamente el idioma oficial en el mundo y en México han tratado de enseñarlo desde los niveles de educación básico y eso está muy bien.
¿Crees que es importante preservar las lenguas indígenas en México?
Claro que sí, son nuestras raíces, nuestros orígenes. Debemos estar orgullosos de quienes fuimos, bueno, nuestros ancestros, y debemos preservarlo para que continúe nuestra tradición.
Ok, gracias.
¿Qué sabes sobre el lenguaje de señas?
Bueno, sé que es una forma de comunicarse con personas que tienen discapacidades, ya sea auditivas.
¿Por qué crees que es importante aprender una lengua extranjera?
Bueno, creo que es una manera de comunicarse con otras personas y de cierta forma pues también te puede servir como en tu trabajo.
¿Cuáles crees que son las razones por las que las lenguas indígenas están a punto de morir?
Pues creo que la principal razón es que últimamente no le damos la importancia que estas deberían tener. Entonces, al no practicarlas es por eso que se están extinguiendo.
Gracias.
¿Podrías decirme qué sabes del lenguaje de señas?
Bueno, el lenguaje de señas viene dispuesto para personas que tienen algún tipo de discapacidad, pero en lo personal te podría decir que sé muy poco acerca del lenguaje de señas. Las personas de la calle nos dan inclusive en ocasiones algún papelito que viene el abecedario, pero de eso a que lo practiquemos en las escuelas, de eso a que lo practiquemos con este tipo de personas, pues bueno, la verdad no suele suceder. Sé muy poco, la verdad es muy vano la información que nos llegan a dar acerca de eso.
¿Qué piensas de la enseñanza del inglés en México?
Demasiado importante, ¿sabes? Es el idioma universal, el inglés. De hecho, el español, pues bueno, aquí lo manejamos en México, pero debería de estar a la par inglés, a la par español. Demasiado importante para conseguir trabajo hoy en día y te abre las puertas de muchos lugares.
¿Sabes cuál es el idioma oficial de México?
El español.
Ok, gracias.
Hola amigos, bienvenidos a Culture Shock. El día de hoy vamos a hablar sobre el festival Nican Nican Fest. Vamos a verlo.
Hola, ¿podrías decirme qué es lo más importante o representativo de la cultura mexicana?
Para mí yo creo que es todo lo que trasciende nuestra historia, es todo lo que hemos hecho o somos lo que somos ahorita. Yo creo que eso es lo más importante de la cultura mexicana, que nos ha dejado hasta ahorita.
¿Qué crees que piensan los extranjeros cuando escuchan la palabra cultura?
Bueno, yo creo que es un término globalizado, a final de cuentas yo creo que es las raíces que tienen todos los mexicanos o el conocimiento general que deben de tener sobre su país.
¿Puedes decirme 3 palabras que se relacionen con cultura?
Sabiduría, tradiciones y por último innovación, yo creo también.
Ok, gracias.
¿Podrías mencionar 3 palabras relacionadas con cultura?
Una sería el arte, danza y costumbres y tradiciones.
¿Te gustaría hablar alguna lengua indígena? Y si es así, ¿cuál y por qué?
La única que conozco es náhuatl y sí me gustaría hablarlo porque estaría muy padre como seguir preservando nuestras tradiciones, nuestras raíces.
¿Consideras que es importante preservar las lenguas indígenas?
Sí, porque es parte de nuestra cultura. Desafortunadamente nosotros nos estereotipizamos, o bueno, dejamos que mucha cultura americana y todo eso se mezcle con nosotros y como que ya no está tan padre eso, pero sí, estaría padre que la gente quisiera aprender lo que es nuestro, que es muy padre.
Hola, ¿por qué crees que es importante preservar las lenguas indígenas?
Porque son algo que lleva tiempo y pues es cultura.
¿Te gustaría hablar alguna lengua indígena? Si es así, ¿cuál y por qué?
Sí me gustaría, realmente no sé cuál, y me gustaría pues, estar más en contacto con lo que es México, los orígenes de México.
¿Puedes mencionar 3 palabras que se relacionen con cultura?
No.
Ok, gracias.
¿Podrías mencionar 3 palabras relacionadas con cultura?
Lenguaje, sincretismo y mestizaje.
¿Qué crees que sea lo más representativo de la cultura mexicana?
El sincretismo y el mestizaje que obtuvimos de los españoles con la cultura hispanoamericana latina.
¿Qué crees que piensa un extranjero cuando escucha cultura mexicana?
Una mezcla cultural de diferentes aspectos históricos.
Gracias.
¿Por qué es importante preservar las lenguas indígenas en México?
Porque estos representan una parte importante de nuestras raíces, además de que dentro de la cultura de México es algo muy distintivo. O sea, si vas a ciertos lugares diciendo, pues aquí se habla este tipo de lengua, ya sea náhuatl, otomí, diferentes cosas. Además de que pues también dieron origen a varias no sé cómo decirlo, expresiones que actualmente utilizamos.
¿Tú qué opinas al respecto?
Pues es de suma importancia, ya que nos representa a nosotros como mexicanos,
porque no en todos los países del mundo existe esta gran diversidad de lenguas que tenemos nosotros en México. Entonces realmente es triste que le tomemos más importancia a otros idiomas como, no sé, el inglés, el francés, etcétera, que como mencionó mi amiga, pues no sé, zapoteco, tomí, etcétera, yo creo que tienen un papel fundamental también para nuestra identidad como mexicanos.
¿Te gustaría hablar alguna lengua indígena? Si es así, ¿cuál y por qué?
Náhuatl, porque, bueno, nosotros estudiamos Derecho, entonces realmente hay como muchos casos como de indígenas y toda esta situación en la que no pueden ser como auxiliados de una forma correcta porque no conocemos la lengua en sí. Entonces, para nosotros sería como de gran ayuda que nosotros como abogadas sepamos como pues hablar esta lengua.
¿A ti cuál te gustaría?
Igual náhuatl, porque, o sea, si lo ves, creo que es uno de los más comunes, porque si le preguntas al, no sé, a tu abuelito, a tu bisabuela o en algún caso, te dicen, no, pues es que antes se decía estas cosas así, te pueden platicar ciertas historias con ese tipo de lenguaje, además de que en la vida diaria se sigue utilizando en ciertas ocasiones, o sea, si ves algún, no sé, un molcajete o cosas así, pues viene de ahí, ni siquiera sabes de dónde viene ni lo que significa realmente.
¿Podrías mencionar 3 palabras relacionadas con cultura?
¿En general?
Cultura mexicana.
Ok, tradiciones, Día de Muertos. ¿Qué otra cosa podría? Y yo de... el baile de papán.
¿Me puedes repetir la pregunta? ¿Podrías decirme 3 palabras relacionadas con cultura?
Cultura mexicana, no sé, pues sí, como dijo mi amiga, voladores de Papantla, pues bueno, yo creo los huehues. ¿Qué otra cosa? Ajá, bueno, mariachi, ¿no? Ajá, mariachi. Y pues ya.
Ok, muchas gracias.